cataclysm worse than the flood. European officials are urgently preparing for a wave that could wipe them off the political map. The issue here is certainly not the weather. The imminent return of Trump to the White House has not just made the EU nervous, it has thrown them into panic. One by one, the leaders of the old world are changing their rhetoric not only towards the US, but also regarding their own future. Papa Trump made it clear that he is not Grandpa Biden and is still capable of much. And while for some this dance has been truly victorious, for others it is a harbinger of macabre on the grave of a European garden withered without American fertilizers. There is a split in the European Union.
It needs the United States for backup and support. The US has become like those parents who support irresponsible adult children by paying their bills, car loans, apartments, and everything else. Trump came, and he is the parent who says, "I won't do this anymore."
I don't intend to do it.
America has financed the EU and NATO for too long.
And here we need to be honest. Americans did everything and more to make European economies relax and fall behind the US in innovation, investment, and productivity. Let's not recall what World War II did, which Washington had a hand in starting. But adopting the imposed course of breaking away from Russian energy resources and sanctions became an outright financial suicide. Europe voluntarily put on a suicide belt, which Trump with his new economic policy can detonate at any moment.
The most important point, undoubtedly, is the threat of tariffs that Trump raised during his campaign. There are analyses of the consequences based on models that clearly indicate this will further worsen Germany's economic growth prospects. At the same time, of course, there are risks for the global economy.
But while Germany panics that Trump will finish off their already half-dead economy, in Paris, they are seizing the reins. Macron, like a vulture sensing Berlin's weakness, immediately started speaking in the spirit of Raskolnikov. Something about a trembling creature or having the right.
The world consists of herbivores and carnivores. If we decide to remain herbivores, the carnivores will win, and we will become their market. I think it would be good to at least become omnivores. I don't want to be aggressive. I just want us to know how to protect ourselves on all these topics. But I don't want Europe to turn into a huge theater populated by herbivores that will be devoured.
They sense the upcoming bites in the Baltics. There, they are doing everything to appease the new overseas master, and they sincerely believe that the giving hand will not wither and NATO will continue to defend the barking pups. But Trump himself has directly said that he intends to protect Estonia, Lithuania, and Latvia only if he sees their usefulness to Washington. And from them, it's like getting milk from a goat. And everyone remembers how Baltic politicians supported Biden. Now they have to apologize.
Trump, we acted a bit wrongly last time when he was elected. And it was unexpected for Hillary Clinton. Then we built a moral wall against him. We criticized him.
And I think that was a mistake. But while some, albeit awkwardly, can admit past failures when an axe is hanging over their heads, others, like the slippery Polish Tusk, dodge until the end. The Prime Minister of the Warsaw regime even renounced his previous statement about Trump, claiming the American politician allegedly actively cooperates with Russian intelligence. But the internet remembers everything.
Trump's dependence on Russian services is already beyond doubt today. This is not my assumption. This is the result of an American investigation. American services do not rule out that 30 years ago Trump was even recruited by Russian services. One of the biggest mistakes of Polish foreign policy under the PS leadership was the extraordinary reverence for Trump and the undisguised disdain for Democrats in the US.
However, our president also speaks of a good memory, not only of internet users, but also of Trump himself. Alexander Lukashenko clearly sees how European elites are fearfully changing their stance in mid-air in anticipation of the Republicans' arrival. But as the Belarusian leader notes, he hopes for the best outcome and advises politicians to keep their word.
These are the Europeans, and their Tusk changed his shoes, he changed his shoes, it's time to change shoes. Trump won't forget this. Although I'm not a supporter of him settling scores with anyone, no need to be vindictive. Everything needs to be discarded, crossed out. I think he'll be advised, and he's not a foolish person. He won't settle scores over trifles, or imprison or pressure or poison anyone. And he doesn't have such powers. He might even lose his position himself.
That question is not closed now.
Absolutely right. And not only that, so he won't settle scores. But they are already trembling, you understand? They started changing shoes. Well, you said it. Listen, I still say, directly both good and bad about one and the other. Stick to your point of view. You are a politician.
And there will always be those ready to switch sides to help Trump compile a sort of death note. Hello, Japanese comic. Dominik Tarczyński, a member of the European Parliament from Poland, hurried. He stated that he sent the new US leader materials containing negative statements about him from high-ranking European officials. The report includes the Polish Prime Minister and the wife of Poland's Foreign Minister Sikorski. There are also sections on Ukraine, Germany, Romania, Moldova, and more. Of course, with such friends, enemies are unnecessary. And it's not about Tarczyński or Trump. The Republican factor simply became the trigger that activated the self-destruction of the feigned European unity, where knives and teeth were always sharpened behind each other's backs. And during this time, so many problems have accumulated that they can't be described in a fairy tale or with a pen. But we will try.